My husband cheated on me with my brother's wife, then I found out he had a secret child and stole from our joint account. Now, he's destroyed our family's reputation, and I'm left to pick up the pieces. It all began on a Wednesday morning, with a phone call that would change my life forever. I was in the middle of preparing breakfast when my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. At first, I thought it was spam, but the name on the message stopped me cold: Claire. I hadn't spoken to Claire in over a year, but I knew her well enough. She was David's colleague, but she was also someone I'd trusted, a friend, even. She'd come over for dinner with her husband a few times, and we had spent many evenings talking about everything from work to family. But now, the message from her felt wrong, and I felt a knot tighten in my stomach as I opened it. Mia, I need to tell you something about David. Please call me as soon as you get this. My hands went clammy. I didn't know why, but something about that message made me feel like I was standing on the edge of something I couldn't understand. Something terrible was coming. I dialed her number before I even thought about it. She picked up after the second ring. Mia, Claire's voice sounded shaken, as though she was hesitating to say what she needed to say. I didn't want to be the one to tell you this, but I think you should know. I saw David at a hotel last night, with a woman. My breath caught in my throat. What? What are you talking about? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady, but it cracked. It was him, Mia, she continued. I didn't see the woman's face, but it was definitely David. I thought you should know. I felt like the room had spun around me. Claire's words were still hanging in the air as I sank into a chair, the phone slipping from my hand. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. But instead, I felt numb. This wasn't happening. Not to me. Not to us. Are you sure? I asked, trying to grasp onto some thread of hope. Maybe you were mistaken? I'm sure, Mia, she said softly. I'm sorry. I hung up the phone without saying goodbye, my mind racing as I dialed David's number. The seconds dragged by as I waited for him to pick up. When he did, his voice was annoyingly calm, too calm. Hey, Mia, he said, like everything was normal. What's up? Where are you? I asked, my voice shaking. I'm at work, Mia. What's wrong? He replied, but there was an edge to his tone now. I wasn't about to sugarcoat it. Don't lie to me, David. Claire just called me. She saw you at a hotel last night with another woman. What the hell is going on? There was a long pause, so long that I thought he might hang up. Finally, he sighed. It's not what you think, Mia, he said, and I could hear the guilt in his voice. I've been seeing someone else. I gasped. What? The word felt like a punch to my gut. Who? How long has this been going on? I didn't mean for it to happen this way, he said. It's been going on for a few months. I didn't want to hurt you, but I wasn't happy. I haven't been happy for a while. The pain hit me in waves, each word he spoke slicing deeper. Who is she, David? I demanded. Who is the woman you've been seeing behind my back? He hesitated, and then the name came out in a whisper, Julia. I froze. Julia. My brother's wife. The woman I had always trusted like a sister. The woman I'd spent hours with, confiding in her as we talked about our lives, our hopes, our dreams. And now, she was the one who had been sleeping with my husband. Julia? I repeated, barely able to speak. You've been with my brother's wife? You've been cheating on me with her? David didn't answer at first, and when he did, his voice was flat. I never wanted it to happen this way. It just did. How long? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. I couldn't process it. How long has this been going on, David? A few months, he said, his voice weak. I'm sorry. I never meant for it to go this far, but I don't know what happened. How could you do this to me? I cried. How could you do this to us? To our family? I don't know, he admitted, but his voice was distant. I never wanted to hurt you, Mia. But I couldn't help it. I didn't feel the same way anymore. My world shattered. The betrayal was more than I could handle. But the worst part? The worst part was that I wasn't sure if I was more devastated by the affair or by the fact that it was Julia, someone I had trusted implicitly, who had destroyed everything. I hung up the phone without another word, and for a while, I just sat there, numb, not knowing what to do or where to go. The man I had loved, the man I had built my life with, had destroyed everything in an instant. But that wasn't all. 2 days later, as I sat at the kitchen table trying to piece together my thoughts, I saw a notification pop up on my phone from the bank. At first, I didn't think much of it. But then I saw the amount. $50,000. It was a large withdrawal, one that didn't make sense. My hands began to shake as I opened the message and read through the details. David had withdrawn $50,000 from our joint account. I immediately called the bank, demanding to know why this had happened. The bank representative confirmed it was David who had authorized the transaction. I was livid. I called David, and when he answered, I didn't even try to hold back my fury. You took $50,000 from our account. I screamed. What the hell is going on, David? There was a long pause, and then his voice came through, calm and detached. I needed it for some things, Mia. It's not a big deal. A big deal? I echoed. David, that's our money. Our family's money. What did you do with it? I'll pay it back, he said, his voice cold. I needed to take it. I didn't think you'd understand. I could feel my blood boiling. I don't care what you needed it for. You stole from me. From us. How could you do that? But his indifference only made the pain worse. The man I had once trusted, the man I had shared my life with, had not only betrayed me emotionally but financially as well. I didn't know who he was anymore. The next few days were a blur. My mind couldn't process what was happening. My marriage, my family, my entire life was falling apart. Then, the final blow came. A few weeks later, I overheard a conversation between my brother and Julia. They were talking about a paternity test. A child. Julia had given birth to a little girl, and David was the father. I felt the room spin as I processed the information. David had a secret child with my brother's wife. He had lied to me, stolen from me, and now he had fathered a child behind my back. I couldn't breathe. I felt as if the world was closing in on me. The betrayal was complete. David had ruined everything. Our reputation, our family, our trust, gone in an instant. And now, I was left to pick up the pieces, to try to salvage what was left of my life. The divorce was inevitable. I had to let go. The woman I was once had been erased by the man who had broken me. I packed up my things and moved out, trying to find a way to start over. But I knew one thing for sure, I was done. I would never let him, or anyone else, destroy me again. I would rebuild. One step at a time.